or something, but there was a foreign feeling. Um, um, the the I had a real strange sensation in that little room up over the kitchen. When you was up over the kitchen, um, I presume, of course, that it was a maid's room. There some help used a little bit, but I also felt that there was a problem with somebody there. That there was something happened that was dishonest and some anger that came out on that. Um, the guest house, uh, a lot of energy there, but I didn't feel that it was bad energy. In the house, I did feel negative, very negative, really bad energy, enough to make me physically feel things. Um, I kept skipping. The only thing that I was really curious that I saw, I didn't really finish the dining room. There's a lot in the dining room, and I really, for some reason, didn't want to get into it. And I don't know why. But I did see something, and this wasn't the sight that I saw from the bedroom. This was more mental, psychic imagery. When I was out there, I was looking, and I saw a little girl at this gate, and she was, I could see her face. I mean, she had a little round face, and her hair was kind of bangs and straight hair to here, blue-eyed, blonde, little girl that would come to this gate. And that may have been maybe in the past, but I just saw her. And I think that's about all. Now, the other thing we did do, which proved to be very interesting here, we did some tests on the geomagnetic energy. And there are some unbelievable spots here where it just went off the meter in the top. Now, most of the times when we go on an investigation, if it gets up to 2 or 3, we think we've got a real hot spot, you know. And a lot of this was at 10, some of it was 25, 35, the guest house door. Now we have to realize and find out from you folks, do you have an alarm system? Because some of this you see could be like...
We have an alarm system in the house, not on the guest, in the guest house.
The guest house doorway was 35.
Yes. Went from 25 to 35.
The minute we walked in the guest house, it was 2 to 3 throughout the whole, throughout the whole guest house.
Now, what is that? What kind of energy is that?
I'm not sure. We have a research department that's supposed to evaluate all of these things, and I'm not a scientist. I take the readings, but I do. Are you familiar with? Have been reading anything about the geomagnetic grids changing in the earth?
We can show you the little meters.
Yeah, we have a
Right.
triangle meter.
But have you heard like anything about the grid?
No.
Reading anything
Shifting
about
of
that
the
type of
Earth
thing?
surface?
No.
The shifting of the magnetic grids in the earth. This is one of the things they're trying to research as a group, because I have to feel that, and in fact, it would be interesting to put our findings of the meter on lines to see if there are a grid formation.
Yeah.
And I know geomagnetic energy can manifest itself. I mean, if it's strong enough, you can be in trouble with it. But that's coming from not from a really psychic point, but we try to look at everything that we are able to look at.
Can I ask how each of you got into this?
Sure.
So I know who you are and what kind of credibility.
Betty, would you like to tell what you do and your background and when you got into this?
I'm Betty O'Grady. I'm also a hypnotherapist. But my mother was psychic. She was interested in it, and as a child, she'd take me with her when she would go to lectures and that sort of thing, and I grew up with it. So my interest has been ever since I was a child. And I cannot remember how I started going to this particular group, but it's been very interesting and a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot and grown through doing investigations and hearing lectures, many things.
Right. Now, I know that when I found you, tracked you down and started through UCLA, through the psychology department there, and led to a group in Riverside. So, are you called in sometimes by other organizations, or mostly individuals, or?
We are called in by a variety of people and places. Actually, we've been called into quite a few businesses. And you know, when it starts hurting your pocketbook, some of these things that are going on, you start looking for answers. And a lot of times there aren't any, and they call us. And we've been very successful in helping. Most of us, we don't charge, and most of us are really service-oriented. We really are doing this because we like to help people, and there are a lot of people out there that need help. You'd be really amazed. And also, we have a lot of people that are called private people that call in, and then the Riverside Hazel Benning, she's excellent. And she has referred, she used to have a group that would go out and investigate. She doesn't have it anymore. And she got acquainted with us and decided that we were credible, and so she gives us most of her.
Michelle, do you want to talk about what we experienced and how it relates to what they were saying?
Well, I think definitely with the master bedroom, I mean, every time I would climb those stairs, I would get a very weird feeling. And as soon as I would walk in, I would go in for some reason and check the closets. And always make sure that those closet doors were closed. And again, the dogs would sleep upstairs with us, be extremely restless all night. I mean, just get up in the middle of the night and start panting and panting and walking and pacing. And, you know, never really slept well, always very restless, sleeping there. It's very interesting when Michael and I would want to get romantic. I was always uncomfortable. I always felt like there was somebody watching me, and it was a male energy. I always felt like there was a voyeur. I mean, I never felt like the room was totally ours. You know, that we were sharing it.
That's why he was sitting on the couch. He was just
no, really, I've always, I mean, I can ask him, I've always been very uncomfortable, and I get out of there as soon as I can. When I go in the shower, I take a shower as fast as I can, and I get out of that bathroom. And the same thing with the living room downstairs. I never ever go in there unless we have guests. It's just a very cold feeling. And the fireplaces make noises a lot. I was attributing it to wind, but there's always kinds of whistling and just, you know, noises that I really have never heard coming from a fireplace before. And then also downstairs in the basement I mean, I maybe put my toe in there and I'm out of there. It's very spooky downstairs, the energy again. It's almost like it's thick and it's heavy downstairs in that room. It's like you go down there and you want to open a window. I mean, you just want to let some air in. You know, and of course we've had our experiences of these instances where we thought we had aftershocks, and we called Caltech, we called the fire department, we called the police department, we talked to our neighbors, and no one felt anything. Yet our house shook very violently, but then also stopped. I also called my geologist. He said, but you didn't have any even those slight seconds of rumbling. I said, no. And then the doors slammed.
To describe specifically what happened those two nights, one was last Thursday, or the Thursday before. 2:20 in the morning, one of our cats that was sleeping on the bed just yowled and scratched my hand, and I woke up screaming, and then 2 seconds later, the entire room shook with a burst of energy that we thought was this major aftershock, and the bedroom door that leads to the hallway slammed shut really hard. None of the other doors moved, and then it stopped like 2-3 seconds later, probably about 2 seconds. And we attributed it to an earthquake, and the next day I kept mentioning to people, boy, did you feel that aftershock in the middle of the night? And nobody had felt it, and then we found out that there had been none. So we didn't really think a whole lot about it more until the next Tuesday night. At about 2:50 in the morning, when we were sleeping, and it was the same thing. The room shook, the exact same feeling, the exact same sound, the exact same length of time, like a huge aftershock, and the same door slammed shut again, the bedroom door into the hallway. No other doors moved, no other doors slammed. At that point, Michelle, we could not go back to bed. We started calling the local radio stations, the police department, everybody asking if there were aftershocks, if there were explosions, if there were anything. There was absolutely nothing. And then we started talking about the possibility. I mean, could it be a ghost? Could this house be haunted? Because there was no other explanation that we could think of for that kind of explosive release of energy, and that door, that one door, slamming shut both times, to the point where we put a pillow in the door because we were afraid, you know, that it would slam again. And it was the next morning that I tracked you down. As Michelle went out and spoke with our neighbors, none of our neighbors felt anything strange. One of the things is I spoke to the guy that lived here before the last tenant, and he said that he and his wife really hadn't felt any problems, but that the maid had complained about stuff, and that she was fired, and he said, without going into specifics, under difficult circumstances. You know, it was not friendly circumstances. She was fired, which is interesting to what you said.
I picked up dishonesty. It's on my sheet.
Right. So he's going to try to locate her and contact me. I haven't done any research as to be before him. I got a clue of who it could be, somebody before him, and I think I'm going to have a realtor to try to check into the history.
He was the tenant?
No, he owned the house.
Oh.
He owned the house before the current owner that we're leasing it from.
Michael, I also think we should add, I mean, Susan and I work here a lot, and the problems we have is mentioning the energy in the house. Certain places of the house, the energy will just go out.
You mean the electricity?
Yeah, the electricity or the alarm system when nobody is downstairs, and I know I'm not near a panic button, and Susan is.
Right, the alarm goes off.
Right, and the cats, there's no way the cats can jump up. And the emergency button goes off just by itself. And I'll call the alarm company, and they'll say that they can't figure it out. You know, so again, this kind of energy that goes on. And I think, Susan, maybe...
Well, Ann should also tell about what he experienced the night.
Right. Well, I mean, we actually have a house sitter because I have been so worried about what's been going on that if Michael's working late or something, I have a friend of mine come over and stay with me. And you want to wait for Ann to tell it? Or...
Yeah. Oh, Susan,
And Susan, you want to talk about just what happens with the phone systems all the time? And this is...
Yeah, basically, and I called the assistant who worked for the woman who owns the house, and talked to him, and he's never had any problems. He worked for 2 years here, and he's never had any problems with the phone system, with the locks. Here we've had the locks about 8 times, because what happens is that we put the key in, and the cylinder just spins. You can just spin the cylinder, and it won't do anything to the lock. And we've had them come out like several times for the lock to the door leading. It's always the doors leading out to the yard, I think. Those 2 doors lead out to the yard. And then with the phones, we've had to replace the phones, almost every phone in the house. And then the jack to the living room totally went out. So we can't use that jack anymore. And I checked all the other phones. I checked put other phones into the jack, and the whole jack just seems to have shorted out. We've constantly had problems with it. I mean, even this morning, all of a sudden, the phone went out on me for a second, and then I got it back up.
Right. Well, Estrianda, who's our housekeeper, said yesterday every line started ringing in the house, and when she'd pick it up, there'd be no one there. Now, what was interesting is the second line that rings, nobody has the phone number to, because it's a rollover line from the first line and should never ring independently. It should only ring if the first line is busy, but was ringing.
I was one of the ones that called a second. I talked to her twice.
Yeah.
And it didn't roll over, apparently.
Let me just change.
Right, and then, you know, even a 5.5 here, the entrance to the bathroom.